Hey guys, it's Mo from Mo in the Deep End. Sorry, I was trying to get a hair out of my face and ended up getting another one as per usual. But it looks like we finally have some answers, at least in part or preliminarily, from the Mexican Navy ship that went backwards before being involved in a deadly crash at the Brooklyn Bridge or into the Brooklyn Bridge. The Mexican Navy tall ship that smashed into the Brooklyn Bridge in May was inexplicably sailing backwards and picked up speed before the fatal collision, according to officials. Now, the preliminary report released Monday by the National Transportation Safety Board, or NTSB, leaves more questions than answers on sort of the crash that killed two members of the crew and left 19 other people injured, including why the docking pilot's orders to stop the vessel didn't have any effect. A tugboat was trying to assist the doomed ship, which had hundreds of Mexican naval cadets on board, when the crew seemingly lost control of the vessel. Now, the upper sections of all three masts on the ship contacted the underside of the Brooklyn Bridge one by one, the report states. The estimated damage to the 147-foot tall training vessel is expected to exceed $500,000. Now, the initial report makes no mention of mechanical failures that would have hindered steering capabilities, as insiders close to the case initially reported. The 43-year-old vessel was on its way to Brooklyn waterfront to refuel before setting sail to Iceland when a major marine casualty occurred. Now, the stop in Lower Manhattan was the fourth in an 8-month and 22-stop voyage around the globe to train the class of naval cadets. And again, my heart goes out to the family members who lost their young people, their sons and daughters. You know, they were just stepping into adulthood and really wanting to make a difference and do something that was unique and, spread their wings. And unfortunately and sadly and heartbreakingly, sometimes accidents happen and there is no rhyme or reason. And I hope they are getting the support and love of their community, friends, and family as they walk through this incredibly difficult time. Now, after 4 days in port at Pier 17 in the South Street Seaport, a sea pilot boarded the vessel and a local docking pilot arrived to guide the vessel safely out of the pier. Now, weather conditions were smooth and visibility was clear. That's in the report. Now, the docking pilot gave directions for the vessel to move its rear, which was acknowledged by the captain and translated to Spanish, then relayed to other crew members on the deck below, the NTSB stated. Now, the vessel began to back out of Pier 17, and the Charles D. McAllister tugboat was ordered to reposition the ship so that it would be facing toward the direction of travel. Once clear of the slip, the docking pilot gave the command to stop and gave a dead slow ahead order. Ordered the McAllister to push the right side of the vessel so its rear was facing the Brooklyn Bridge. That's when the Navy ship suddenly picked up speed from 3.3 knots to 5.9 knots, or 6.8 miles per hour, and slammed into the iconic heavily trafficked bridge as horrified witnesses watched. At the time, dozens of cadets were manning the masts, meaning they were standing on and strapped onto the ship's three masts, a universal sign of respect every time a ship enters and leaves a port. I had wonder about that, why all of the cadets were on the mast when, obstacles that were, could have been a danger were close to the ship, but I didn't realize that it was a naval tradition and that it's a sign of respect and honor when you go into a different port. So I had no idea about that, and now it makes more sense that they were all up there because I was a bit confused. But I know I am ignorant of a lot of maritime things. Jeff, you are greatly missed because you were the one that gave me information about, various maritime things and taught me about degloving, which is a gift I'd rather not have received, but everything else I greatly appreciated. Now, there were two crew members who were on the mast that unfortunately fell to the ship's deck during the collision and unfortunately lost their lives. The vessel also hit a seawall on the Brooklyn side of the East River before the crew deployed both anchors. Now, both pilots and the captain from the tugboat tested negative for any substances that, might cloud their judgment, so alcohol and other not street legal pharmaceuticals. Now, the report doesn't explain why the captain's orders didn't prevent a crash or why the vessel picked up speed before the tragic collision. It could be another year or so before the finalized report is released, providing clear answers to lingering mysteries. The Brooklyn Bridge did not sustain any structural damage, although some loss of paint was observed, the report states. So I will say this of the NTSB. They are very thorough. They are not going to stop until they figure out what happened in this case so they can prevent it again. And the sad and heartbreaking thing is that, new procedures, new safety measures are often paid for with unfortunate lives lost. Because we learn lessons and make things safer. And it is an unfortunate price to pay. I wish we could come up with, new and innovative safety things or different new protocols. But unfortunately, we're humans and we tend to learn from, unexpected things. A lot of times, I will go ahead and raise my hand and say I am addicted to Mayday air disaster. A lot of times, these accidents, it's Swiss cheese. I mean, there are so many little links in the chain that go to causing one of these accidents, that if one of these links hadn't happened, the entire accident would not have happened. And it's so incredibly quixotic and chaotic and unpredictable, some of these things. All of these things, unfortunately, have to line up for there to be, this accident. And I do hope, even if it's a cold comfort, that, safety measures, new protocols, procedures can be learned because of this accident. My heart goes out to all the cadets who lost friends, who got injured, who are probably dealing with the emotional toll that this accident has had. And, I hope that the, Mexican Navy is providing them with support and encouraging them to talk when they're ready about this and, not to carry this for years and years, even though sometimes you carry these scenes, you carry these memories, you carry these tragedies for life, but they don't have to be so heavy, and hopefully they are given the tools and support to lighten their load with this because they're so young and have so much life ahead of them. I want them to be able to live it to the fullest. And I commend the cadets that got back on the next ship and conquered probably a bit of a demon by getting back there and, continuing with your commitment to your service. So again, my heart goes out to all the families and cadets and, superior officers that were affected by this. And the loss of any person in the service is a tragedy, and especially ones that were so young. But I did want to give you guys this update. thank you for spending your time with me. Please do all the YouTube-y things so I don't have to ask. Make sure you are still subscribed. YouTube likes to think for you sometimes, and sometimes will unsubscribe you. I appreciate you checking that, and I know that my fellow creators appreciate you doing that as well. Well, I'm going to say goodbye for now, but remember, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire because kindness doesn't equal doormat, y'all. Bye, you guys.